Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the first three-man weave best bets show of the 2025-26 season. We are back with real audio. Sorry for that pump fake at 10 a.m., but it is 10:18 a.m. Central, and that's still 40 minutes until the first real tips of the day. So no worries. We've got a lot to discuss here. It is Spinny Saturday. I've got my hat ready to rock. Matt did not bring his to St. Louis. Kai no longer has his, but we're going to recover. We're going to have spinny hats coming
Uh-huh.
later in the season. Kai, what's your excuse?
I
Tell the
or
people.
I don't know. I must have lost it in Vegas. I've ordered two new ones though to make up for it. So we're good. We're good.
Good, good. Matthew down in St. Louis. I will skip the preamble, boys, because we got to get to games, and it's 40 minutes
Sounds
to
good.
hammer it out. We're still going to have a lot of chat. I did want to give a shout out to Gonzaga because Kai and I did not discuss them enough on the three-man weave pod yesterday. They warranted more chatter for what they've done so far this season. Got another Power 5 win last night on the road at the carcass that is Bobby Hurley's squad. So congrats to the Zags. Looking awesome early. As,
Hey, little battle from Bobby and the boys. A little bit. Little battle.
I'm saying
The Zags
carcass
play
in
really
terms
bad.
of his tenure is
Yeah,
is
I agree.
that is Leo could cut it open and sleep in it overnight if he was cold, a la the Revenant, because that's where that thing's going.
Fair.
All right, let's
Very
get
fair.
into the outline here, fellas. The headliner of the day is the AJ DeBenza homecoming. BYU flies across the country to Boston to take on UConn. Matthew, going to you first here because we just haven't heard your voice enough. We've got BYU, a 6.5 point dog, getting almost a touchdown crossing the country, and a total of 153.5. What are you looking at for this one?
Yeah, Jim, we were discussing, there's my voice for those missing it dearly. This number feels high if you're just a pure, power rating or analytical type handicapper, Kai. If you're not a vibes handicapper, you're not a qualitative, intuitive capper. It does feel a little bit high to me. I think UConn deserves a courtesy point for home if you want to break down the components here. However, I do like the DeBounce coming home as a little homecoming thing. I'm sure he will have an awesome game in this one. I assume Caravan will get that matchup. That's obviously a huge part of this schematic
Jalen
breakdown.
Stewart, Jaden Ross.
Maybe Stewart. I think Terrace Reed, though, is going to have an absolute day inside. Healthy Terrace Reed Kai is a difference in this one. I like UConn, despite my concerns that I am paying a premium to back the side I want to bet, which sometimes you got to do in betting.
Yes, Matthew, I'm with you. The Kennard Davis absence looms large. He is got arrested for DUI. We don't know the circumstances. He did travel with the team apparently. I don't think he's going to play. He's a big defender, wing piece. BYU has not looked impressive either. Life and death with Villanova. They were down by 6 to Delaware 4 minutes into the second half as 30-point plus dogs. That's not good.
Favorites, 34 plus favorites.
BYU favorites, Delaware dogs. Yeah. I think UConn kind of picks their defense apart because I don't think BYU's defense is any good right now. Demery, throw him on Rob Wright. Love Rob Wright, but Demery's huge. That's going to be a tough matchup. The Keita Terrace Reed matchup, Jim, will be interesting. Who gets in foul trouble first? I'm going to agree with Matt that the line has gotten too high, but I would still lean UConn as a more gut instinct.
Yeah, the gut is that UConn scores like every time down. Number definitely tilts to BYU. So echoing both these guys' thoughts, I did bet the over. I think there's going to be points galore in this game. UConn has slowed teams down in the half court defensively. They make you work to get a good shot, but I think BYU is going to be a little impatient. You get this like national TV sense showcase for pro talent. I think it gets a little up and down. The players get a little more excited. Tempo picks up. And yeah, I think the efficiency is going to be excellent. Matt, you discussed Terrace Reed. All he's done in 42 minutes is post 39 points and 20 rebounds.
Yeah, I mean,
like he's just a monster production-wise per minute. And I know they were playing inferior competition that had no prayer of stopping him, but Keba Keita's only 6'8". I'm not sure he's going to be like the answer for 6'11", 265 on the block. UConn gets him great post steals. A lot of points, both ends. I think BYU spent some time at the foul line here because UConn loves to foul, and they're finally playing somebody that can athletically compete with them. But that lead me to the over with the kind of a split gut versus number lean on the side. All right, next up, another neutral site game, Oklahoma and Nebraska, the heartland of the country meeting here. A lot of crops grown between these two
Corn.
states here. Yes, corn indeed, but the Corn Huskers, Kai, are actually not favored anymore. It is a pick'em in Sioux Falls at the Pentagon. Total of 163, way up there. People expecting a lot of points. Oklahoma hasn't really guarded a soul yet this season. Gonzaga specifically. What are you seeing with this game?
Nebraska puts its longest winning streak on the line. The nation's longest winning streak, Nebraska Huskers. We learned that in our pod yesterday. Jim guessed it correctly. The Huskers have looked strong out of the gate. I'm a Rink Mast fan. He has looked fantastic. He's a beast. I had high expectations, as many did, for Oklahoma coming into this year, but they didn't stand a chance against Gonzaga. They got murdered on the glass. They got murdered inside. They had 16 turnovers. I think the Husker guards can kind of cause issues for the Sooner guards, the smaller Sooner guards. Oklahoma's not going to let Nebraska fire away from three. That's what Nebraska kind of wants to do. They take away the three at a high rate. They have Wagi on the back line blocking shots. Can he stick with Mass on the perimeter? I think he can a little bit. I had a slight number lean towards Oklahoma, Matt, when it was like Nebraska -2. Now at pick, it seems about right. It feels like Nebraska's a better matchup, I would say, but it's another one of those stayaways for me.
I like Nebraska here. There's a good amount of coaching familiarity here, and I'm worried I'm missing something with the scheme. I'm trying to look up the head-to-head. I think I've only gone head-to-head a few times, but from the days of when Hoiberg and Moser did battles, was that Big 10 or Big 12? Big 12, correct? Yeah, Iowa State.
Not a lot, not a whole lot, right?
Oh, there's a couple times. Anyway, I think there's Hoiberg talked about this scheme familiarity between both these coaches. So I think there's going to be a lot of chess matchy in-game adjustments for those of you scheme nerds out there. I still think the size up front for Nebraska is going to be a big differentiator. I think Oklahoma, as we've seen the last couple of years, we've seen this season, especially last year, really, like their lack of size is fine against lesser competition. But I think when you step up in class and you go against true bigs, I think the fact that Moser really doesn't ever go after like a rim protecting verticality guy, it's just more like positional bigs who are smart. I think that sometimes can haunt you against guys who can punish you at the rim, and I think this Nebraska team can. So I like the Skurs, Jimmy. Maybe I'm discounting the shot making ability of those guards for the Sooners, but I think the Skurs get it done with size.
My question with Nebraska, Matt, is like how much rim pressure does that size put on? Like Mast loves to kind of pick and pop, shoot threes. They run a lot through him on the perimeter.
Yeah.
They don't really have a slasher, like a guy that's going to take advantage of their 5-out stuff, but the cutting, and if they do post up Mast, I think he's going to, have a field day. Wagi lives in foul trouble. Like he probably already has 2 fouls right now, despite the game not even tipping off. Again, I lean towards the over here. I did get it at a better number than the 163, but both teams do have a tendency, a proclivity to run offensively. Granted, that was against inferior competition. Now maybe against better teams, it won't be quite that much. But Oklahoma played a pretty fast game with Gonzaga. I don't think either has a lot of, especially on the Oklahoma side, a lot of interior defense. And this is at the Pentagon. Everybody makes shots at the Pentagon. That's part of crazily, it's part of my handicap is that I think that atmosphere and shooting background breeds made shots. And just it kind of influences guys to run up and down because it's this cracker box type gym a la Maui. So I'm leaning towards the over there. I don't have a strong take on the side. As Matt mentioned, Oklahoma's not been as good as I would have liked to see this year.
It should be like 90% Nebraska fans there too. So I think that matters to a degree.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think so.
Have they given up on football? Is that why?
They're closer, but yeah, football stakes there. I think they're all in on hoop. It's a basketball state now, Jim, with the Omaha Mavs, Creighton. It's a basketball state.
That's right, Matthias. All right, next up on the outline here, Clemson at Georgetown, a tip that is coming up in just over a half hour. A lot of discussion about this one in the 3-Man Weave Best Bets channel at Basket Under Review, which we'll plug in a second here. Kai, Clemson, a short road favorite at Georgetown, -1, last I checked, total of 142. The Tigers haven't really seen much actual competition this year, but maybe the reworked roster is ready for Georgetown, who handled Maryland in their one test.
This Georgetown team's pretty good, fellas. I'm kind of digging it, what I've seen so far. The Kentucky preseason game obviously was a big deal, in my opinion. I know preseason, whatever. But the 10-point win at Maryland was impressive, despite Maryland's injury issues. Malik Mack looks improved. KJ Lewis is blossoming into the player that I think he had the potential to be all this time when he was on the bench at Alabama previously. Or, excuse me, Arizona.
Arizona.
I guess both, right? Was he Arizona and Alabama?
No.
Just Arizona?
No, just Arizona. That's Bradley, who is Alabama.
Bradley. Yeah. Clemson has destroyed his 3 opponents, like Jim said. But those teams, New Hampshire, Gardner-Webb, Moorhead, maybe 3 of the worst 10, 15 teams in the country. So I'm not putting a whole lot of stock in there quite yet. Clemson is not very dynamic on offense. They lost their really good guards from last year. Their guard play, in my opinion, leaves a lot to be desired. Nick Davidson's a stud inside. But I think a guy like Iwuchukwu from Georgetown, who's looked very good so far, is a pretty solid matchup for him. It's probably a free throw battle. It's going to be a lot of charity stripe chances and probably a slog to watch. Matthew, I have the Hoyas in this one, Georgetown.
I do too. Yeah, I want to respect Clemson. I think this is yet another year we probably underrated them. I know I probably did. Most people do every year with Brad Brownell teams that don't have like clear cut performers or star power. I think Justin Porter is actually a pretty good shot maker for people saying that they don't have great guards. I think he's solid. He's healthy-ish. He wasn't really healthy at this or Middle Tennessee last season. Their freshman's been great, Buckner. But I do like Georgetown, man. Clemson has played nobody. I'm sorry. New Hampshire, Gardner Webb, who's 0-3 and lows like
Yeah,
I think that, and then Moorhead, I think looks really bad. I think those are three terrible teams. My point is, I've learned nothing about Clemson so far this year. That's not a reason to bet against them, but I'm not like scared of them based on what they've shown me in terms of competition. Although I like some pieces. So Jim, I like the Hoyas, man. I think they're good. They're old. They're guarding. More of a Cooley team. They get this one today.
Okay, I'll be on Clemson Island here. I'll be the one guy that voices for support for the Tigers. I've learned that they are very similar to what they have been. Like they play the high-low offense. They've got the couple of bigs. The roster made sense with the structure coming into the season. And I would agree with Matt. The guards have looked better than expected. Buckner, holy cow, where did he come from?
Yep.
Again, the competition is so bad that it's really hard to make a sweeping generalization. But I also think I'm a little more like hesitant on this Georgetown team. Maryland was a little shorthanded. That game got like kind of out of hand early, and Maryland not a team built to come back from deficits. So maybe we overreacted to Georgetown. I think they dip back down here, kind of a generally up and down. And I know Cooley as an underdog was always a thing at Providence, but this is basically a pick 'em game. So I'm not going to give them like the benefit of the doubt of like getting points. So lean to Clemson, maybe a slight lean to the under, but I did not bet this game on either side or total. All right, one more before our first chat mob section. Butler at SMU. Kai, you have this as a best bet in your in the basket under review picks, the five of them. I don't know if you're going to do it here, but I know why you did it. You went with the over because both these teams are like just laying on the gas pedal in their bye games so far. And will that continue as they get into real competition? TBD. But the total is 165. SMU an 8-point favorite down in Dallas. What are you looking at here with Butler and SMU?
So money's come in on the under then. I have a bad number, which is surprising. That doesn't happen a lot in totals. But hey, I like the over. It's a best bet for me. 165. Yes, I'm taking the over. Butler's come out blazing, like absolutely blazing. They're scoring tons of points. Obviously, inferior competition. But I think Mata wants to run. He had the 16th fastest offensive tempo back in 2015 at Ohio State. This is not like an anomaly for him. So he's currently top 10 right now in offensive tempo. SMU, I know Andy Enfield wants to run. They're like, top 5 right now in tempo. I think they're more than happy to run and have a track meet in this game. I think both teams will score a lot of points. I kind of like both teams, Matt, overall. I think both of them are a little underrated coming into the year. Butler, I think, is better than people think. I think SMU's guards are awesome. Very dynamic guards. We love Boopy. The line from a spread perspective makes sense to me. SMU maybe a little higher than I would make it, but the total will be my best bet over 165.
Look at you, Kai Overtaker. I'm laughing on Twitter. Our guy Lucas getting blasted with asks about Jalen Jackson. He posted an article on local football, and then everyone's responding to like, "Hey, what's Jalen Jackson doing today?" Point is, his stats I think is key to both side and total. Pretty key offensive ignition switch for that offense. That to Kai's point is a lot more dynamic now. It's certainly fast. I agree with Kai. I think Mata finally has a team that is somewhat built to how he wants to play, and I think there's a lot of points in that game. To that reason, I think this spread, while it feels high to me, won't be because that total will play in closer to 170. So it feels more like a -6 line than a -8 actual line. Spread feels about right to me, Jim. SMU let Murray hang around. They don't really execute with conviction, I'll say, like against Murray. I know Murray's talented, but like they really let Murray hang around with some dumb self-inflicted stuff. And if it wasn't for the Boopy BS shot to cover at the buzzer, all Murray backers would be cashing tickets. So I don't know. I kind of lean Butler on the side. That's my side input.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's a little high, but to your point, it's going to be such a high tempo game, high total game that 8 won't feel as big as a normal like slog half court. Kai said we all love Boopy. I don't right now after that ridiculous, pointless buzzer beater to
real
win by
dollars were
11.
changed, Boopy. Hope you feel good about yourself.
Yeah, that was frustrating. But I think both these offenses are going to be both the defenses. Butler much more built for that offensive end. Ajayi kind of shining through as the potential that didn't really hit at Gonzaga. Bizjack's like a legitimate offensive threat, but not a lot of competition for either team so far. Murray being the best foe that SMU played, so lean towards the dog, but the total is just so high that I don't know if that's going to actually come into play. But also like the over. If both these teams are going to run the way they have, then it's kind of impossible to see this not being like a 80 possession game track meet. Only projected for 74 at Ken Palm. So lean to the over, like Kai's best bet.
Thanks.
All right, let's get to our first chat mob section. Hopefully, our czar, Matthias Cox, has been tracking that. Before I kick it to him, just a quick shout out to Basket Under Review. If you're not a member, a subscriber, please get on that. It is college basketball season. Only $10 a month gets you access to the best college hoops Discord on the planet and a ton of ridiculously great written content. We just had a post with the weekend watch list for today that I contributed to. You've got Will Warren right in there, Brian Ralph doing his Ralph reports, Jordan Majeski, like 4 of the 7 days a week, has his game breakdowns. If you're a college basketball nut, it is a well worth it $10 a month. You get loaded up on content. So join that. And if you like this show, we are going to be discussing games in the Discord, not doing a show, but any day you can ask us, hey, what do you think of this matchup? Tag us and we'll give our response. So that is another part of the $10 a month that you get. So that's Basket Under Review. Please join that. Matthew, tell us what we got in the chat questions.
Actually, not a total question, Jim. I'm going to tee you up with a kind of a bag of those. But first, let's talk sides. Kai, UT Arlington.
Yes.
I'd say our Mavericks because I think maybe it's just my Mavericks. I've liked them too much. Yeah, historically, probably a little too much. They are hosting, I'll say, my Missouri State Bears today. Do you have a take on that game?
I had a lean towards UTA. I don't think this
too.
Missouri State team is any good.
I agree.
So lean towards Arlington. Nothing profound there.
Yeah, a little quit though in that opening game against New Mexico. I didn't like that. I agree that I lean toward the Mavs at home. Jim, we'll stay out west. I actually might have a best bet in this game as I mull it over more. Maybe you'll convince me here. Idaho, UC San Diego. The Tritons with a nice little win at Fresno. Sort of tried to give it away, but they look good. They're coming together. Idaho's, we know, is better, more talented, but without Christian Gonzalez. For the year, that's tough. Your take.
I liked Idaho at 8, 7.5, and it's 5.5 now. People are all over Idaho. The
Oh, it
Vandals.
certainly
They're going-
has. Thank you.
They're going vandalizing. So maybe, Matt, that talks you out of a best bet. But yeah, with the walls splattered with paint from all the vandalizing, I'm going to stay away at the current line, but I did lean towards Idaho if that makes a difference to anybody.
Hey, that team's
How about Idaho?
good.
Okay.
I just want to say they're good. San Diego is unconscious that game. Idaho's good.
I do think Idaho is good. Then I think we know they're well coached. Talent was always the question with them, in my opinion, for Pirtle's first couple of years. Let's stay with another Idaho-based program that I think is also pretty well coached.
Yes.
Idaho State versus Seattle. Seattle's been, I think, one of my least profitable teams betting on or against the last 3 years. I cannot figure out Chris Victor and what he's working with. I don't feel like Seattle's a good favorite, Kai, but
yeah.
they certainly just debunked that against. He just blew out somebody pretty
Eastern
good.
Washington. They
They
smoked.
didn't blow out Cal Poly.
Yeah, Cal Poly though. I mean, the Mustangs are just an absolute bear. Kai, your thoughts on this matchup?
Yes, slight lean towards Idaho State, I guess. My number doesn't really have a big edge.
Spread
there.
is 11 currently.
Spread's 11. That is big, I think, for Seattle. I do think Seattle's pretty good this season. Not a world beater, though. Idaho State's a really good dog, the way they can muck it up. I think Looney is a great coach. I worry about turnovers. Idaho State's been super loose with the ball. Their guard play is down with Dylan Darling out. Usually Idaho State kind of revolves their offense around a really good point guard. I'm not sure they have that this year, in Seattle is really tough on defense, forces a ton of turnovers. That would be my one worry in a matchup perspective there.
Best bet under 141.5. I think this game gets slowed down and mucked up.
Fantastic.
I agree. Have you seen your guy play? Van de Grande.
He's still coming off the bench and not getting the minutes he deserves is kind of odd, but they're playing way through the post again, which has always been a Looney thing. And the game has been really, really slow because of that. So I think this one is a slog.
Jim, back to you. Winthrop hosting Mercer. Rock Hill laying 2.5 against the Bears. Ryan Ritter and the boys. Your thoughts?
Absolutely no take on the side here. And Mercer's been pretty good to start the year. Okogie is like way too good for the SoCon, for a guy that was A10 in American for his first 2 years. He's been fantastic. I did take the under, one of those high total unders. I think Mercer does slow it a little bit. Winthrop hasn't been quite as frenetic and crazy as they typically are in that program. So I've liked the under at that like 165-ish, wherever it was.
Kai, Bradley, San Francisco, a rematch of last year's game. I believe the Braves prevailed narrowly. Well, we're a little upset with San Francisco in their opener, getting blown out by Memphis. No Newberry, who I think is really important to that team.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what his status is today. I'm sorry, I'm behind on my prep. Do you have a take on that game?
I will say the Dons battled back, at least against Memphis.
They did.
Made it close.
They
But, Bradley was a team that I was worried about coming into this year. They obviously lost a lot of talent from last season. They're down, but they're always really good program. I think Brian Wardle's very good. But losing to UT Martin doesn't look good unless UT Martin is just, heck, maybe they're top 150 this year. They could be. I think 9.5 is a lot of points for a program in Bradley that I really respect and I think is a fantastic dog. I would lean towards Bradley in that one.
Bradley.
I think it's a little too high as well. Jim Davidson hosting Bowling Green, one of the sort of surprising MAC teams. There's been a few like, whoa, this team in the MAC might be Buffalo to that list as well. Do you think Todd Simon and crew go out to Charlotte and get a win or cover the 4.5? It's 4.5, I think now. Yeah, 4.5, 5. Yeah,
I do. I like Bowling Green here. They're like top 5-ish in highest efficiency margin change, or maybe it's rank change.
Yeah, they're
Bowling Green's
top
been
5 rank. Yeah, I think
defensively they
really
look
good.
terrific. They're long. They're super athletic. They can guard.
Yeah, and this Davidson team, like I just don't fully trust it with Matt McKillop in charge. I don't think they hit on the same all cylinders the way they did under Bob McKillop. It's so just not quite as sharp. And with Bowling Green having really good vibes to start the year, that I don't think is like aberrational or shooting regression, like screwed. I think Bowling Green is a good bet.
Yeah, I give Davidson zero credit for destroying Washington State, as we've learned what Washington State kind of is at this point.
Yeah, and Washington State
I'm going to holster
some
some.
country.
Yeah, like, okay, great. Thanks for coming out. Here's your money, and we'll beat you and enjoy the flight home. We'll save the totals to the end. Let's get back to the Ally. We got to get 20 minutes left. We got to go through the second half here, and we'll rapid fire to close it out. Jim.
All right, let's do it. Yes, Maryland and Marquette, a rematch of last year's Marquette win on the road in College Park. When we were like, oh, is Marquette a top 10 team? Holy crap, look at them. And then they didn't have a single impressive win basically the entire year of 2025. Kai, they struggled last time out, getting whipped by Indiana. Indiana could not miss threes. But now Marquette laying a touchdown at home against Maryland, who may be shorthanded with Solomon Washington, Miles Rice. A lot to consider here.
Hey, I don't think the Terps are very good. Their offense sucks. Now, no Miles Rice, no Solomon Washington. That's a huge deal. I know I gave a lot of credit to Georgetown beating them, but Maryland really is not very good without those two guys. They are
Rice did play in that game, but wasn't himself.
Did he play against Georgetown? Okay, well, good.
Yeah, a little bit.
Georgetown, way to go. You're awesome. But but even with those guys out, beating Coppin by 22, beating Alcorn by 20, these are not good results. These are not like impressive. Flip side, I think Marquette's gonna be fine despite losing to Indiana. They absolutely destroyed Little Rock. I know Little Rock doesn't play up, but they bounced back nicely. They're going to be tested on the glass. Pharrell Payne is a monster. Buzz loves to crash the glass. Obviously not as effective without Washington in the lineup. And they're not the Texas A&M bully team. They're a lesser version of that team. I think Terps D is solid. I think Chase Rossi's going to have a big game. Sean Jones, Matthew, missed last game for Marquette. I don't know if that's super key. I thought he was going to be really important heading into the year, but again, no trouble with Little Rock. I like Shaka developing a solid game plan here. The market has correctly steamed Marquette, in my opinion. I liked them a lot at the earlier prices, like 4.5, 5, 5.5, 7. I'd probably stay away.
I think was Sean Jones hurt?
I don't know.
Or was that a statement?
He might have been precautionary.
I like these Marquette. I think I'm like the only person who thinks Marquette's decent. Like Nigel James.
Marquette is good.
I think Nigel James is kind of a hooper. I still see signs in Parham. I still think Lowry's going to be a stud. I didn't give this team a little time. I know me and my buddy were texting about how bad it looked against Indiana. I think Marquette's going to be fine, though. At home, juiced up crowd, friendlier whistle with how they pressure, I think, helps. That hurt them big time against IU. And you're right. They get to shaky backcourt. I think Marquette wins fairly handily. It's a big number to lay, but I think Marquette wins pretty easily here without much of a sweat. 7, I would lay 7. Best bet for me, officially.
Okay.
Sorry.
Wow.
Yeah, there it is.
Look at the conviction from Matthew.
You talk yourself into it, you got to just lay the hammer down. Boom.
I can't quite lay 7, but I generally agree with the points here. I think you get a better Marquette performance. Maryland first road game with some real shorthandedness in both the backcourt and the front court. It's not the same buzzball team without like the army of rebounders. Yeah. And Colin Metcalf has been non-existent. I don't think he is a Big Ten player, not a Big East player. He's got to play against the Big East today. So yeah, can't quite get to it. Shaka is typically the guy I want to back as a dog rather than a favorite, so I'm not going to lay 7, but I wish Matthew the best and would lean
Thank
his
you.
way on the best bet. All right, next up, Nevada, Santa Clara. Matthew, I'm going to pinball it right back to you. Out west, the Bronx just manhandled Xavier. Sneakily a Xavier win in the shot quality score, but Xavier has
What?
looked bad everywhere. Yeah, I mean, that game was like 20 points. Santa Clara was up in the first half, so
Yeah.
hard to take too much away from it.
When is shot quality making the team sheets? That's my question.
Uh,
I don't know. We'll find out.
I don't know.
We'll
They
find out.
stopped betting for a reason.
Santa Clara -6.5. Matthew, total of 145. Anything for you on this game?
I like Nevada. I do. I loved it when I looked at it at first, and then I thought more about it. I'm like, I've been burned by this Nevada team too many times in certain spots. It's a theoretically better spot for Nevada, but it also may not be because they just won a close OT game and they got to turn around in 48 hours, or yeah, 48 hours, I believe, or maybe it's 72.
72.
And play an early afternoon game at Santa Clara.
Yeah.
So I think it's could go both ways. I mean, Nevada's deep. I think they'll be okay. I do lean Nevada, Jim. And I'm not going to make an official best bet because I just feel like there's this deep yearning. Nevada's going to piss me off in the second half. But I do think they're the older team, the deeper team, and maybe in the better spot.
Boy,
Clara.
true words have never been spoken. That's exactly what I went through. 6.5, hammer, absolutely, boom. Looking close at results. Not great for Nevada. They smashed La Tech, okay, but then they looked really mortal against Pacific and SIU. And I was kind of down on them coming into the year. I didn't think I picked them pretty low in the Mountain West. Having said that, I think still is too many points. Santa Clara, I think beating McNeese is more impressive than being Xavier. Xavier's horrible. They could be close to like 200th in the country. We're not giving them a ton of credit for that. I don't think Santa Clara is bowling Nevada on the glass. That's how they've really won the first couple games. Alan Graves, their freshman, has a 28% offensive rebounding rate. That's nuts. That guy rocks. I think Nevada lives the line. Past that, okay, kind of dicey on offense. Tayshaun Comer, a lot of you tonight. I think it's a fairly close game, though, Jim. I bet Nevada at 6.5. I won't be taking it as best bet, but know that I am on them.
You just said the exact sentence I was going to say.
Perfect.
I bet them at 6.5. Not going to take them as a best bet. Just giving the people the information there. If you want to laugh at us later if it doesn't work out.
You may.
Yeah, this feels like a free throws extend the game to 8, and we're just tearing our hair out,
Yes.
yelling at
Perfect.
Steve Alford
Yes.
as the buzzer sounds. Maybe Comer will make a half quarter to cover. That's what we're hoping for.
Yeah.
All right, next up, Grand Canyon and St. Louis, two outstanding mid-major teams with quite
Man,
a
I
bit of
should go to this
talent.
game.
Yeah, you should.
You should go to
SLU
this
is
game.
awesome. They're like playing at the fastest offensive tempo in the entire country. They look like Josh Schertz, Indiana State, Robbie Avila as the key. A lot of versatile playmaking, shooting, kind of a deeper rotation this time around. Last year, they were like 4 players, 3 players that actually mattered. Much, much better team this year, but Grand Canyon is no slouch. They're really good. Brian Moore did not play last game. Need to get him back in the lineup. He matters a lot for them. But man, they've got a lot of talent, size. They can compete with Avila and maybe force him to score one-on-one. What do you think, Matt?
I love SLU here. I do. It's a big number. Grand Canyon, I don't think they look very. I watched the Youngstown State game. Hard to tell who was the better team in that game, frankly. I know they beat NIU by a million. Terrific. Good for you. I know you beat Fort Wayne on opening night. Whatever. Good for you. SLU has Fort Wayne coming to town, actually, I think next week. I think this GCU team is sort of in disarray without a true point guard and trying to find their new identity. Like they're trying to play Jaden Henley at like a point forward, just offensively really out of sorts. I think SLU just slices and dices them. They may get beat on the glass, but if SLU can at least keep it competitive on the boards, I think they win by 10 easy.
Yeah,
10 plus easy.
10 easy. Okay. Post-hype sleeper Billikens, yeah, have looked electric. We thought they were going to be awesome last year. Injuries, blah, 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 blah. Brian Moore matters a lot for Grand Canyon, in my opinion. That's why I think this 8.5 point spread is not crazy. They lost at home to freaking Youngstown State. That's yikes. Grand Canyon doesn't lose at home. To lose to Youngstown State, who is okay, is eye-raising for me. I think Avila and company carve them up. I don't think Grand Canyon's defense is any good. I think Mekhi Williams will get his points for Grand Canyon. I don't think it's going to be enough in what's going to be a high possession game, in my opinion. So yes, I lean towards SLU as well. I did not actually bet it though, Jim.
Yeah, big lean to the over, and just the fact that I think it's going to be ping-ponging up and down makes this spread a lot more coverable. At Grand Canyon, nice scheduling. You get 3 teams from Ohio or the Midwest to fly out for a one-off game out west in Phoenix to start the year. Like that,
Yep.
there's a reason maybe 2 of them were not invested, and losing to Youngstown, I think, is even more of a of glaring red flag when it's a team just like hopping out from Ohio to Phoenix one time for the West Coast. We do have an update. Solomon Washington, Miles Rice, and George Turkson all officially out
Excellent.
for Maryland. So good for Maddie's best bet there on Marquette. Yeah, no best bet for me on SLU Grand Canyon, but definitely lean towards the favorite and the over. I think that one just gets them down. I'm with Kai. Grand Canyon's defense is not good. It's not good.
I mean, just up for just to put a bow in the GCU hates, like go through Bryce Drew's years since 2021. He's had Javon Blackshear, Ray Harrison, and Tyron Grant Foster. It's the first year he doesn't really have like a legit point guard unless Brian Moore is
Brian
that guy,
Moore's
which
good.
I don't.
I think
Yeah,
Kyle
he's
Williams
fine.
is good, but they're not those guys.
Not
They're
my
those
Kyle Williams
guys.
guy.
They're playing through
He's
the
not.
front
You're not
court.
those guys.
Their
Yeah,
highest
they're
assist
trying to play
rates
for the
are
front court.
Owusu Anane and Breidenbach, and yeah, not overly enthused about that. Okay, last one on the outline is the rivalry game down in New Mexico, Matthew. New Mexico at New Mexico State. Road favorite here with the Lobos, Eric Olin's first season. New Mexico State, brand new cast of characters like they have basically every year. New Mexico, laying 3 on the road, total of 139.5. Matthias, your thoughts?
I'm gonna lay it. Again, I don't know if this is a great value play, like numerically ratings and whatever you want to call it. I just think more of a gut vibes. New Mexico State will be good. I don't think they'll be good early. Just too many new pieces. I think New Mexico, while their offense look a little bit sluggish, I think they're guarding really well. And if their offense starts to pick it up and make shots, they're going to really, really extend here. Now, Dayton Albury did not play last game. Honestly, I don't know unless he doesn't matter. This team is so deep. They have so many different pieces. I just think in this matchup, it's not going to be a huge deal. I really don't. They got a couple other ball handlers. I think they'll be fine. New Mexico wins and exacts revenge, Kai, from last year's stunning defeat at the pit, although no one was on that team, so I don't know if like it really matters. But still, a noteworthy narrative to keep in mind.
We're head to head. I took Mexico State today.
Good luck to
Yeah,
you.
Eric Olin has continued his winning ways. I think Dayton Albury is really important, like really important for New Mexico. He's a stud. He's their point guard. I don't know if he's out. He might be back, but to your point, he missed the game. Honestly, that wasn't part of my handicap. It was a bonus. I think New Mexico State can win this game. They have not played great against D2 competition. They have not killed anybody yet. I don't know how good those teams are, though. Obviously, it's not a good sign either way. Jamel Jones is a freaking stud. I am a huge fan of his for New Mexico State. He'll be the best player on the floor. Obviously, a huge rivalry game here. I think the Aggies step up and cover as home dogs.
Yeah, I took the 4 with the Aggies. I don't know. The first D1 game, hopefully they're a little more hyped than playing New Mexico Highlands like that. I'm sure they weren't ready to go rabid, foaming at the mouth for that one. This is the big rivalry. Hooten is another really good coach. Like I don't think Olin rolls over him as in a coaching matchup. So with New Mexico also not really fully solved yet. I don't think their Riverside effort was that good, even without Albury. I'm gonna lean towards the dog here, not go against Matt and not take +3. I did like having the 4, but that would be where my money would go if I had to do it right now.
I will say just a concession of my strong stance here is Tennant is out as well. He's sort of the young electric backup point guard. That is the replacement value, I think, gets a little bit steep there at point guard. New Mexico starts to look a little more a little slower relative to New Mexico State. Yeah. So yeah, lumbery. Yep.
Should we do best bets quick since some games might start in 9 minutes and then we'll finish with the chat section?
I've already given 2, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to add on Vermont Northeastern under 134.5. I'll double check that's what's available out there. But thought about Vermont, thought about the under. There's maybe some 135, 134.5 is what we'll call it for the show. LA Pratt out for Northeastern. I've watched them play, and he is like the only dynamic player on the team, like the guy that can drive and show off some athleticism. It's a lot of other guys that want to catch and shoot. They can kind of play through Yuri Fritz up front, but I don't know how they score. Vermont's been a little shaky defensively to start the year, but I think this one is slow. And with no Pratt, it really limits Northeastern's offense. Vermont's offense also not that sharp yet. So I think we get a slow defensive type struggle in that one. So those are I'll go just 2 best bets today for now. Maybe I'll come up with another one as you guys talk, but Idaho State, Seattle under 141.5, Vermont Northeastern under 134.5. Kai, to you.
Sticking with Butler SMU over 165, even if Jalen Jackson's out. I think it's a high possession game and a lot of points.
Matthias.
I said Marquette. I said New Mexico. I'm going to add 2 Sunbelt pups.
2? Okay.
Marshall, Old Dominion.
Marshall.
Hate playing large favorites. Just some of these runs by these good teams are terrifyingly fast. Virginia as well. But I think Marshall and Odie are both pretty solid. I think they keep it close today. Both athletic. I think they can stand up a little bit to the powers that be on the other side.
Yeah, Maddie, I'm on Old Dominion with you, and the last time out fading George Washington was not fun as they put up like 110
Man, they
points on
blitzed
American.
USF. Holy cow.
Could
They
not
might be
be
very
stopped.
good. They
Yeah,
might be
they
good.
blitzed USF and destroyed American.
Yeah.
Like just absolutely nuclear warhead on them. All right, Matthew, give us the chat questions. We'll finish it up with that.
Jim, here's some of the totals I've been asked about. You can cherry pick. We don't have to go through all of them. Oh, sorry, they're there. Kansas, Princeton over, Merrimack, BU under, and Loyola Stonehill under were the three. A couple people actually asked about both these. Any take on any of those? Undertakers in particular or no?
I like the under in Merrimack Boston. I think Merrimack zone makes it hard to get things moving in Boston without Chiron Alexander and a big time scorer. They have a freshman who's been awesome so far this year. I don't have his name on the tip of my tongue, but a freshman guard's been good. And their Ben Defty, the center, has had the breakout that I predicted in the Basket Under Review Patriot preview. But I do lean towards the under there. I think it's slow. Not a lot of taking Kansas Princeton. I'm assuming Darren Peterson is back, and that certainly we think would help the over.
He's out.
Oh, he is out.
Yeah.
Okay, then maybe I could buy the under. Princeton, not a deep team. Henderson talked in the preseason how he was like really going to experiment in the non-conference, and like that they got whomped in their first game. I think they could get whomped again here as they like feel out their lineups, and Kansas is still much better talent-wise even without Peterson.
Yeah, I think it's a good place to lay it without Peterson. It's a good opponent to lay it without Peterson. I think Kansas can still be Kansas without Peterson in this matchup. I agree with that.
Yeah, Matt, generally think Loyola Maryland is an under team too for that question, but I did not bet that game.
Yeah, that's right. I'm thinking of Loyola Chicago, who I think is just a not good team in general. Yeah,
not
tough.
Good.
Kai Chattanooga at Florida Gulf Coast down there in Fort Myers. I know you dove deep into that one last night. What did you unearth as you broke that down? I did not take a second look at this game. I'm sorry.
I generally overbet the A-Sun because I write that preview every year.
That's right. I think you're 8 Kai Sun. Yeah.
I did not bet this game. It feels a bit short in terms of, I think Chattanooga would be my lean if I had one in this game, but that's all I have, just a lean.
I bet Chattanooga when they were a dog. I think they should be a favorite. They just had that brutal West Coast swing where they were out athleted.
Yeah.
Gulf Coast hasn't figured out the interior rotation. They're not going to outsize them.
I like the suggestion. I'll feel this one, Matty. Money lines. Detroit money line at Toledo plus 425. Toledo may not be very good, and I don't think Detroit's bad either. And I think it's a game that could be crazy up and down, and yeah, I could see Detroit pulling this one. So I'm just going to endorse that pick. I might sprinkle a little bit of pocket change on that. Plus 400 is where I would draw the line.
Little thing there. Toledo's best freshman is Blyden. I believe he was like the Detroit area player of the year. I'm guessing he played against a bunch of these Detroit freshmen too. Like
they're all the entire Mercy team is all Detroit guys. Yeah,
I think they'll be really motivated. Yeah,
good point. Kai at Queens.
Again,
you've been burned by Queens this year, haven't you? Have they not been very good?
No, they've been solid. They've
been solid. Okay, they're hosting Sacred Heart.
Like 2-1. Yeah, okay. Again, Sacred Heart, a team I'm over betting. This line is about right to me. I have Sacred Heart overrated. I have Queens overrated. And as a result, I made it about what it is right now. No take. This line has not moved an inch. I respect both teams. I have no take.
I bet Queens all 3 games. Did not cover by a basket against Winthrop. Did not cover by a basket against Villanova. But then they got it done at Duquesne in overtime.
Okay, I did not bet them against Villanova. So I'm 1-1, Jim. 1-1.
There you go.
Good. No is too big. I think Sacred Heart is good, but not against Duke Brennan and big time size. I think that's all we got, kids. Unless my chat froze.
Hey,
Jim, Seattle, Idaho State under. We talked about that. Yeah, you mentioned that.
That was one of my best bets.
Okay, good.
Yep. So definitely on board with that. I believe that is it. If we any at the horn, Matt, feel free to alert us. But thank you everybody for tuning in. Make sure you join Basket Under Review. Only $10 a month for just college basketball nirvana, chatter, content, whatever it is you need in your college basketball life. Basket Under Review has it. So sign up. Kai's the link in the description of the video.
I do. Check
Perfect.
it out. Yeah,
all right. It's in there. Producer Kai. He's all over it, folks. We don't have an official.
Good scramble today.
Oh my gosh. Sorry
we made it happen. It's week 1 for all of us. Technically, it's still
That's
week
right.
1 for us, even though last week was a Saturday of basketball. But that's what we got for you today. Enjoy the hoops. Long day of 70-ish games or so. college football still overshadowing our great sport, but it's going to be ours soon enough. So thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you again next week. And don't forget about the 3-Man Weave Pod Friday mornings live at 7 a.m. So we'll see you at one of those. Thanks for tuning in. Enjoy yourself.